Hello, everyone. I'm Sandy Anastasi, and this is the Psychic Hour. I'm so grateful that all of you are still here and waiting for me, in spite of the fact that we had a couple of technical difficulties as we started this broadcast. So everybody here gets a gold point for tenacity. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thanks for waiting. I deeply appreciate it. Folks, this is the Psychic Hour that I actually began all the way back when I was working with Infinite Quest. Oh, I guess that was around 2010 and 11. And it's been resurrected so that I can be with you here monthly on GoToMeeting.com. And obviously, a lot of you have found me and have got the patience to wait for me, and here you are. And we've got so much coming up this month, so I'm really delighted that you're here to work with me this evening. I can't begin to tell you how important it is to be alert to what's happening astrologically all month long. And as you can see, I have today's horary, we call that a chart for this time. It will answer all of your questions, regardless of what your sun sign is. It will answer the questions of what's going to be happening this month. That's what we do. Horary basically means predictive chart, which is really kind of fun. And I will be referring back to that all evening long, this chart that you're looking at least for the next hour while we're together. I'll be answering your questions, your psychic questions, both concerning your own life issues that you would like to discuss with me, as well as the issues that are going on out there in the world, which are pretty far-reaching and exciting at the moment. So I'm really happy, once again, to have everybody here. Welcome. And let me give you the basic rules of the Psychic Hour that I'm doing here. You can see me. We're actually live this evening. You'll see on the right-hand, actually it's the left-hand side of your screen, there are little hands next to your name. And if you click on that hand, the hand is going to go up. And Lisa, my assistant, who is in the chat room, will see your hand go up, and she'll know that you want to ask a question. And so as we go through the program, she will be able to call on the people with their hands raised, and I will get to as many of your questions as I possibly can. If you are shy and you don't want to hear your own voice, now, mind you, we will not see you. We're only going to see me, so you don't have to worry about how you look. But if you are a little shy and you don't want to speak, but you still want to ask a question, feel free to write your question into the chat room. Those that she can answer right here and now, Lisa will answer for you. Those that she really needs to direct to me, she will do so. And if we don't have a chance to get to them during the hour, I do my absolute best during the month to get back to you via email and give you some feedback on those questions. I don't always hit all of them, but I do my best to get back to you. And I know Lisa spends a lot of time all month doing that too. So without any further ado, I am going to get us started. So Lisa, is there a person in the audience who's got their hand raised and has had it raised right from the beginning that you'd like to call on? And we can start our evening with a question. And as we call on you, as you get unmuted, because that's what Lisa will be doing when she calls on you, I want you to say your name and where you're from. And I also would like you to say your sun sign. And if you don't know your sun sign, just give your date of birth. And also one thing that right now in your heart you are grateful for. So, folks, let's get started. Okay, first hand that I saw up was Kelly. Kelly, you are unmuted. Hello, Kelly.
Hi. My sign is Libra, and I'm in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And my question is, when you read horoscopes, there's one horoscope for everyone who's a Libra, but everyone who's a Libra is not the same. So
right.
I don't understand
how
you interpret it for two different people.
Right. You don't understand how you do understand the concept that at the moment of birth, just like this chart that I have up here on our screen this evening, has planets in many different signs, even though the sun, if you look at the chart, is in the what would be the 6th house, and it's in the sign Aries tonight as we speak. There are planets all over the chart that fall into other signs. So you're aware that if somebody actually casts a chart, an astrologer that is, for the day and the time and the place of birth, they're looking at many different planets and many different signs. So that forms this mixture that creates the unique personality, which is you. That you're understanding. What your problem is that you don't understand how someone like myself can do a astrological prediction for everyone who is a Libra and expect that that prediction can hold true for all of the Libras. I think I've got your question, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, here's how it works. And by the way, Kelly, thank you, because that was very astute. There are certain planets that are, number one, going to stay in a sign for a long time, and those will be the outer planets, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And so when those planets are in a sign like Libra, they're going to definitely affect it in a specific way, and usually in a very large and sweeping way, because they're planets that have a lot of energy over a long period of time. The inner planets will move more quickly. But here's what we do. When I cast a chart for each month, which is what I do when I put up my my horoscopes on YouTube, and when I put them on my newsletter, my website, what I do is I cast a chart much like this one at the beginning of the year. I actually cast that chart on January 1st at 1 minute after midnight. And what that is a horary chart, a predictive chart for the entire year for all the signs. You with me so far?
Yes.
And then what I do is I do something which is called turning the wheel. And when I predict for Libra, I will put the sign Libra on the ascendant, and the ascendant is the left-handmost position in the chart. So in this chart, the ascendant would be the sign Scorpio. That's the thing that looks like an M that's there on the left. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm looking at the sign Libra, I would make sure that Libra is on that ascendant. And then each successive house becomes a month. You still with me?
Yeah.
So January is the first house, February is the second house, March is the third house. You see?
Yeah.
Now, if I'm looking at a chart, say we put Libra on, let's pretend this is the chart, although this wouldn't be the chart that I'm working with, because the chart I work with is cast at the beginning of the year. But for example, if I were to put Libra on this first house, okay, right on the ascendant, instead of Scorpio there, I'd put Libra there. And then I counted to the 4th month, because April is the 4th month. I would be looking down at the bottom of the chart, which would actually have the sign Capricorn on it, because we're one behind, okay, if I turn the wheel. And so if I had Capricorn on that house of April, Pluto would be in that house, and I would know you were going through broad, sweeping, transformational changes right now, no matter what Libra you were, no matter where in the world, because that is the planet that's in that house. So you see, when we're making predictions for an entire sign, we're not actually looking at a natal chart at all. We're looking at a chart that's cast for where the planets are right now, and we're looking at a celestial chart and then fitting where your sun sign is in that celestial chart. And granted, we're only looking at one planet. We're only looking at your sun, but because we're doing it in reverse, we're looking at the galaxy, the planets around you. You see that? We're able to make that prediction. And yes, it can come out, again, it's general. They're not as specific as I would wish. They're certainly not as specific as working with a birth chart. But those predictions can be pretty darn accurate, because we can look at that, going back to using this chart as an example, we could go back to looking at that 4th house that has Pluto in it, and now we can look at all the aspects, like there's a Mars squaring that Pluto. That's a hard aspect. There's a moon opposing that Pluto. which, wow, that means that there's this tremendous intensity of friction that's going on in family matters. And incidentally, you have a lot of that stuff going on in your life right now, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So even though this isn't the actual chart I'd be working with, this is tonight's chart. And that aspect I just talked about is in this chart this evening. And I'm sure you can see it because obviously you've been dabbling in astrology. And yes, I love it. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you're a student of astrology. I think it's the best thing in the world to get to know yourself. It's a great tool. Honestly, I think it's far better than psychology, because you can dabble in astrology just a little bit. You can learn a little bit about it and learn a whole lot about yourself in the process. So it's very much like being your own psychologist, because it puts those tools in your hands. I just love it. It's been my favorite metaphysical science. Notice I put the science. It's not what I do. I'm more of a psychic than I am an astrologer. And when I look at an astrology chart, I don't just weigh the aspects, I actually intuit the aspects, so it's more accurate to call me an intuitive astrologer at this point. And yet I still think of astrology as my science. It is just the best tool in the world. And you've given me the opportunity right now, Kelly, so I'm going to take a moment to advertise my book.
I guess I just recently purchased it.
Yay! You know, and if I ever meet you, bring it with you, I will sign it for you. Okay?
Okay.
Astrology, Art, and
Thank you.
Science, and you can get it on my website. You can get it on YouTube, on Lulu.com doesn't have it, but Balboa Press has it. And you can even contact Lisa, and she will get me to sign one and send it out to you. So you can do it that way too. And that's the end of my advertisement for my book. Kelly, did you have a personal question you wanted to ask?
I guess maybe just.
How's all that family stuff going to turn out?
Exactly.
Well, and since I know you also dabble in the cards, how do I know that, Kelly? At any rate, since you also dabble in the cards, you just got the Three of Wands upside down. Okay? And what that Three of Wands upside down says, if you purchased my other book, Tarot Workbook, I think it's just the Tarot Workbook. At any rate, if you purchase that other book, this meaning is almost directly out of the book. That says that your long-term plans are going to not happen the way you originally planned them. So it would be in your best interest to let go of the way you think things are supposed to be and start dealing with what is. Take it from this moment forward and assume that the long-term plans are going to have to be reworked. Okay? And if you do that, how will the family situation be? And I'm getting that there's going to have to be a Five of Cups inverted, a separation or distancing of yourself from some of those family members in order for you to get back on track. Did that help, I hope?
Yes, thank you.
Very good. Okay. Hey, Kelly, thanks for calling in. And I really hope I didn't lose everyone else in my description. Kelly, I know you followed it along just fine. And I'm grateful that you gave me a chance to explain just how I work with astrology when I do my monthly forecast. So thank you.
Thank you.
Lisa, who else has their hand up, or who do you think has a great question in the chat room that we should be working with?
I'm actually going to go with one who has asked a question in the chat room, but she has her hand up. So I'm going to let her ask you live.
Very good.
This is Debbie. Debbie, you are unmuted.
Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Debbie. How are you this evening?
Wonderful, thank you. I'm doing a career shift.
Hold it. Let's wait. Let's get back to the basics. What's your sun sign? What's your sun sign?
Oh, yeah. I'm a Virgo.
Okay. So in tonight's horary chart, okay, as a Virgo, your sun is going to come up in the 11th house, okay?
Okay.
And also, what's the state that you're calling from?
I'm actually calling from Nova Scotia, Canada.
Oh my, how wonderful. I love I've been there. I love Nova Scotia. What a beautiful place to live. Absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
And what is the most important thing in your life that you're grateful about this evening?
Oh, my family. I have an awesome husband and two wonderful boys.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Now, on to that question.
Yeah, I'm considering changing my career. I've
Uh-huh.
been looking at doing that for a while, but haven't been able to settle on something that really speaks to me working from my heart. And I do have some interesting psychic abilities that have been getting stronger,
Mm-hmm.
and just a real passion for wellness. And
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Let me just share with you that there are two people around you. One may very well be your husband. One of them is either a mother or a sister or a close friend, a girlfriend.
mhm,
Both of these people are having a negative influence on you relative to making a career choice. Apparently you are either in the health field or you're in a field where you have created a lot of stability and things are comfortable. Okay?
mhm,
And both of them are very concerned, and rightfully, we can understand that. They're concerned that if you give up this stability, if you give up this financial solidity that this career is giving to you,
mhm,
that you're going to upset the apple cart, not just of your life, but of their lives as well. And so, you know, you said that you just you can't find something that calls to your heart. The reason you're having difficulty getting on track with what calls to your heart is because you're allowing their both psychic and verbal influence to affect your thinking and your decisions. Okay?
mhm,
Honestly, I think you already have your answer. You are definitely leaning towards the intuitive in your work. You have a
mhm,
very strong connection to your higher self, to that ability to center and get information. You already have the ability to open a channel when you speak and connect with people. You've been doing that for many years. You're aware of that. And
mhm,
you have, I'm sorry, but you've kind of, to put it out here to the world to see, but you've kind of been in denial of that part of yourself for many, many years, because when you connect with that part of you, you tend to put distance between the people that you relate to on a very personal level. Okay? Now, you can sit with your foot on both sides of the fence here for as long as you want. Your guides and your higher self are really not going to be disturbed if you don't make a choice. It's your life, it's your choices, and they part of your journey, you see, Debbie, is making the choices in life. And so they're just waiting for you to make whatever decision you want, and you can continue doing what you're doing as long as you want and keeping everybody else happy. But your own personal happiness is probably not really going to be fulfilled until you make that choice to 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 move in the direction that your heart is calling you. And yes, that direction has been moving into a healing aspect of the psychic field, and you've been wanting to do that for a very long time,
mhm.
long before
Yeah.
you heard of me.
Yes.
I know. And, you know, Debbie, let me just share this little tiny bit about myself, because I want you to understand that I really relate to what you're going through.
Mm,
About 30 years, well, more than that. Oh, dear, it's about 32, 33 years ago right now. Um, I was working as a safety engineer, and I was earning a 30-something thousand dollar a year salary at that time, which really was an extremely good salary 32 years ago.
mhm,
And I was also very involved with the psychic field. I had already written my first book. I was really loving all the things that I could do with things in the metaphysical world. And I was reaching a point where I could no longer do both. Dabbling and also teaching students and writing was what my love was. I was married at the time, and that between my joy in metaphysics and my being married and my working a job as a safety engineer, I didn't have time for me and I couldn't breathe. Does this sound like you? Okay? And I had to make a choice. And the choice was move into a new field, which I was untried in, and earn, if I was lucky, $5,000 a year, because that's what approximately I could bring in at that time, and leave my $35,000 a year salary behind. And bless his heart, the guy that I was married to said to me, and he was only making about $15,000 a year. He was, without my salary, it was going to be poverty level. He said to me, Sandy, we will find a way to make it. You go for it. And so I went in, I quit my job as a safety engineer, and I took a chance. And my guides were saying to me, if you apply yourself the way we know you can, within a year, you're going to be able to make that difference up. Well, that wasn't, I was one of those people who only did something if it was tried or true. So that didn't mean anything to me. It didn't give me the security I needed. But armed with the support of my husband, I said, okay, well, I'll do it, and somehow we'll make it. Well, my guides were right, and so was my husband, because within a year, I had made up the difference, and I was making that $35,000 a year again as a psychic. And it was just because I believed in what I was doing. I loved what I was doing. I was interested in helping people, in healing people. And there's something interesting, Debbie, that if this is what your calling is, and you have a real love of it, if it's a real vocation, people know that. And they do come back to see you, and they do know that you can help them and work with them. And when your heart's in the right place, is what I'm saying, you can make it. You see that? If you only see it as a dollar sign, it won't work. If you see it as, this is my calling, and I will go where I am led, and I will do the best I can do, all the rest will take care of itself. And I would love to hear Lisa's opinion on this. Lisa, could you interject? Because Lisa's been down the same path I've been down.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to catch me up, Sandy. I was answering.
Well, Debbie is faced with that decision we all make. Do we want to go into the psychic field, or do we want to continue doing the field that makes us good money and is secure? And how do we make that choice?
Oh, actually, and here's a Libra for you. For me, it really wasn't a choice. I was more scared of not going forward and learning about my psychic abilities and trying this field than I was about giving up a solid job that I had. There was just no choice. It was that passionate. So, what I'm finding over the last 9 years now that I've been in Florida is that it was absolutely the correct choice for me. Now, it's taken a long time for me to get that security back, because I moved into an area where I knew absolutely nobody. But yeah, if you want it, you have to go for it, because if you don't, you're never going to be fulfilled the way that you're supposed to be. You just have to do it.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
That was really from her heart. Debbie, what Lisa didn't tell you is that she discovered me maybe 10 or 11 years ago through a television appearance I had done, and said, I need to study with that woman. And at the time, I had believe it or not, all my work, my psychic work and my astrology work, was available on cassette tapes. And from Oklahoma, where she was living, she did a long-distance study with me. I had a online chat. Remember the chats for your type? I had an online chat room that met weekly, and she was in that chat room. And she got to a point where she said, oh, this isn't enough. And she sold her house. She picked up roots. She moved from Oklahoma to Florida to study with me so that she could learn everything that I had to teach her. Which is considerable. She's still doing it. Okay. And she's gotten so good at what she does that I've asked her to coach my distant students for my Anastasi System of Psychic Development program. So Lisa is the coach that works with the students from all over the world if they're taking that program as a certificate program. And she's doing an absolutely phenomenal job, which I, of course, knew she could do. But, that application, that inner sense of this is what I need to be doing, sometimes it's very hard to get in touch with that because we both verbally, where we interact, and also intuitively, we are constantly engaged in the give and take with the people we love most. And those people have preconceived ideas about us and about where we fit into their lives and about what makes their lives and our lives comfortable. And those preconceived ideas and those independent thoughts merge with our own. And sometimes it can make it very, very difficult for us to find our own path. It's not that they don't care about us. It's that their path in life might be different. So what their projection on us is different. So what I'm saying to you is that if you really want to choose your path that's going to bring you happiness, you're going to have to really work hard to push those expectations and feelings of the other people out of your life and really meditate on it and get in touch with you and say, what's right for me? And maybe it's not right for me right now, but maybe it's right for me next year, you see? And like I said, your guides aren't saying what you're going to do because they're not going to interfere. They are the least interfering people that you could possibly imagine. Once you make a choice, they will give you great direction, but they're not going to interfere with your choice. They're going to say your choice really has to be, and you use the term yourself, from your heart.
It does.
Yeah. And I do want to point something out here that's kind of important. We have 2 eclipses this month, folks. The first one is on the 15th of April, so that's on, like, next week. It's on Easter Sunday. And it's going to be at 26 degrees of Libra. So my last caller, who was Libra, bam, it's right there on your sun. And it's a lunar eclipse, so it's very emotional. And all of us, folks, are feeling that increased emotionalism, where whether it's happy emotion or whether it's sad emotion, all of our emotions right now are magnified. And always going into an eclipse, we have a decrease of energy. And so there's this lessening of the energy, which tends to produce a sense of I'm overtired, I'm a little irritable, I'm tending towards seeing things in a negative light, I'm extra worried. We tend to magnify the negative things when we get low energy. Well, 2 weeks after the lunar eclipse, that's this Sunday, a week from today, we have a solar eclipse. That's going to be on April 29th. That one's in Taurus. So guess what, Debbie, that's affecting you.
Oh, boy.
Okay. And because the lunar eclipse is first, so here's our energy level. And the lunar eclipse is bringing our energy level down. After the Sunday, when the lunar eclipse happens, our energy level will go up a tiny bit, and then it's going to continue to go down as we come into that solar eclipse on the 29th. So we've got about 4 weeks, folks, left of decreasing energy until the energy starts to come back up on the other side. And also, it's a great idea to keep a diary for the entire period that those eclipses are happening. Anytime your eclipses, they give you insight into your next 6 months, the kinds of decisions you're going to make, and therefore it shows you a little glimpse into the rest of your life, which is kind of cool. So it's not a surprise, Debbie, that you just got that advice on, under this eclipse cycle that's coming in next Sunday. And let me leave you, the advice is really work to get in touch with yourself, because very likely you're going to be making that decision about the career within the next 6 months. And if you really get in touch with yourself and look at things that are around you right now, that's going to help to give you some road markers as to not only the direction you should go, but as to when you should make that career change or choice. Okay?
Okay.
So start last week, keep your diary starting a week ago, and keep it for 6 weeks from then. And that will everything that occurs in that time period is going to help you to make that choice. And folks, everybody who's listening, keep that same 6-week diary I asked Debbie to keep, because all of us have choices in our life that are coming up, and we're getting a look at what those choices are all about right now. So this is such an important time period. Debbie, thank you. I love talking to my callers, because the things that are important to you are important to everybody else. I just love it. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
very,
you.
very welcome. Very welcome. And who is the next hand that we have raised?
Alrighty, I'm going over to Carlene.
Okay, who have I got?
Carlene.
Okay, Carlene.
Yes,
What's your sun sign?
Virgo.
Okay, so we're back to you being in that 11th house. Okay,
Right.
just like
Yep.
Debbie was, and because you're a Virgo like she was. And what state are you calling from? Are you in the States?
I'm in Florida, and I'm on the East Coast in Melbourne area.
Oh, I love that. Oh boy, and you're getting that very warm Gulf water right now. You're almost swimming weather. Nice.
Yeah.
I love it.
And Sandy, I have to tell you, I know you from New York. I used to come and get readings from you back in Bayshore.
Oh, I'm getting chills. It's great to hear from you again, Carlene. Yes, okay.
Thanks.
It's like I just had that tumbler in the lock thing. Something just slid into place. Yes.
Oh, good.
Oh, it's so nice to hear from you. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Carlene, did you have a particular question you'd like to ask this evening? And also, what's the primary thing you're grateful for in addition to finding me again?
I guess life in general, my family, but part of my family is giving me a real headache lately.
And so your question's going to have to do with your family.
Right.
Yeah, what would you like to know about your family in particular?
It's a situation with my son and daughter-in-law, and I want to know if that's going to get any better. Right now, it's making me very angry, and I feel powerless and confused about it, I guess.
Well, the first thing you need to understand is that, and this is a broad thing that, Carlene, happens with everybody. You know, we think we know our children when, they come of age, they grow up, they get married, they move away. We think we know them because we've raised them and we expect them to have a certain code of behavior, and expectations always fail in that department. Number one, because people change. Number two, because there is another person in the mix, and your son-in-law has been raised by a different set of people. He's got different values, different expectations, and so we create, when we put two people together in a marriage, we create a third person. When they act together as a twosome, they're not the same. So you see, you might still have the same relationship with your daughter when you see her alone, but when she and he are together, it's like a different entity. It's a whole different person. Does that make sense to you? Okay.
Yeah. Yes, but it's my son and daughter-in-law.
Oh, sorry about that. I've got them backwards, but it's the same.
That's
same
okay.
concept. Same concept.
And the big problem is she has too much influence over him, and I've just decided I'm not going to be controlled anymore by it. So
Very
I don't
good.
know
And
how that's...
Well, but you just made the best decision you could have made, okay? Now, I never know how my guides are going to approach something, and now I understand why they're approaching it the way they're approaching it, okay? Because, like I said, your connection to your son is the way you expect. It should be just this. But he's not just your son anymore. I should say their names, but it's him and her together. It's your son and your daughter-in-law together. They are a gestalt. They're like one person. And you're feeling like her influence over him is dominating him to where you're feeling like you cannot communicate, can't connect with him, can't understand him any longer. Okay?
Right.
But
right.
you know what's interesting is that if you were to talk to her parents, the likelihood is that her parents, this is why my guides were giving it to you the other way around, her parents would probably say the same thing in reverse. I.e., the gestalt of your son and daughter-in-law has created a new person that is alien to both families. Neither one of you can connect with them anymore, okay? And bottom line is that when I said in your saying, I'm not going to be responsible anymore, I'm going to let go, I'm not going to have expectations, you have just created the very best choice that you could, because you're saying, in stepping back, I'm going to allow them to just be them, and I can make my own decisions and do my own thing. And by doing that, you're giving them permission to make their decisions and do their own thing. And guess what? In future, when you get together with them, it's always going to be by choice, out of love. It's not going to be because they thought they were forced or you thought you were forced. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
It's almost like you're learning to get along with a brand new person, is what I'm trying to say. And when you first meet somebody and you have to find that common ground, and what do you enjoy and what do you like, it's like they're a brand new person. This twosome is not just who your son was. It's the twosome.
Well, they've been married 17 years, so.
Well, and for 17 years it's been that way. You see?
Yeah, yeah. Well, she's a very controlling person, and there are 2 grandchildren involved too that I just don't have the opportunity to see very often.
Yeah, and now, well, and what I'm seeing here is either they have moved a distance away or they're planning on it, and that has you very concerned and very upset. And the fact that they're being very secretive about all the changes going on in their family and their life has you very upset. And I think, no, I'm not trying to be mean about this, but for a long time you were kind of hoping that their marriage would not make it, because you really loved having your son the way you used to have that relationship, okay? And
Right.
when I ask my guides, are they headed, and I'm sorry to go here, but I do these things, are they headed for divorce? That's quite possible. The biggest thing that's keeping them from getting a divorce is A, the children, the youngest one especially, and B, the finances. Your son is not stupid, okay? So they may
Right.
eventually get one, but it's not going to be soon. And the best thing that you have ever done is to step back and just allow, okay? Are you going to lose your grandchildren by doing that? And, you know, my guides are saying that you may lose them for a time, but you will not really lose them, because your grandkids have a bond with you and they will connect with you on their own. Their mom just won't know about a lot of it. They're really good at being sneaky. Controlling people always have sneaky children. It just follows. Okay? And when I ask, is your son unhappy in the situation, and this is important, I'm going to show you the card. I just got a no. It's an inverted, that means no, King of Swords. You know, he's probably the guy who really actually enjoys having a woman who takes on all the responsibility and basically manhandles him through life. He's liking that.
He does. Yeah, he does.
And he's actually liking the fact that his women are fighting over him and making him feel really important. And very likely the fact that you're not fighting the battle anymore and that you've decided to let go and step back, and now he has to fight his own battles, is what will eventually lead him to the choice as to whether he wants to stay there or not. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very interesting.
All this is going to take some time. And in the meantime, you're setting yourself free, and that's going to make you very happy. Again, I picked up a card for you. This card is the 6 of Wands right side up, and that is a card of great success. So you are unloading inverted 10 of Wands, which shows this guy putting down his burden of sticks. You're unloading this issue, saying this is not my responsibility anymore. He's going to have to take care of himself. You're unloading that issue is going to empower you and make you ever so much happier. And you deserve that.
Thanks.
And thank you, really, thank you both for calling in and letting me know you're still out there and doing well for yourself.
I'm still here, and I'm still a fan.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. It's really great to hear from you, and thanks for sharing, okay?
Thank you, Sandy.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Folks, I want to take a moment before I take my next caller just to make a couple of announcements. I have got on just this coming weekend, I've got April 11th and 12th. I've got my Seeing Beyond the Veil class that's happening live in Tampa, Florida at the Sheridan Tampa Airport Hotel. If you're in the area or if you live in the area, this is a great class. Everybody wants to know what's on the other side. Well, this class actually investigates that. It talks about it. It shows you where your guides are, where your higher self is, what happens to people when they die. It really gets into all those intimate details. So if those things are of concern to you and you're in the area, take that class. This coming weekend, April 11th and 12th, the class is at night, both nights, 7 to 10 p.m. Also, on this coming weekend, April 12th and 13th, also live in the Tampa Airport Hotel Sheraton, I'll be teaching my Psychic Development Level 4, which for those of you who are interested is an introduction to channeling and an introduction to mediumship. So this is an area where a lot of people have interest, and if that is one of your interests, feel free to come by. You can start with that class if that is your interest. On Wednesday, April 16th, online, right here, online, I have my first Kabbalah Pathworking class of the series. That series runs for 6 months. It's in-depth. It's about evolution and growth, personal transformation. It's a phenomenal class. If you want to have personal guidance in your own path of transformation, this is the best way to do it. The class is limited in size. I cannot take more than between 20 and 25. So if you're interested in that, be sure to register soon. That starts Wednesday, April 16th. And I believe it goes from 9 to 10:30 at night. Okay. And then on April 19th, I have a live in-person class down in Fort Myers. So again, if you're in the Fort Myers area in Florida, the class takes place at the Mystical Moon, and it is on the Celestine Prophecy. So if you're interested in that, you should call the Mystical Moon to register, and all the data for all these things are on my website. My website's www.sandyanastasi.com. And also, I always forget to mention, I am still available for readings. I'm one of those people who still reads. And if you want to find out how to get a reading with me, you can just go to my website and look up readings and personal conferences. And also the phone number to call would be 941-743-0800. And probably Lisa's already typed all that stuff into the chat room because she's far more organized than I am. And Lisa, who's the next person who has a question for me?
All righty. I'm going to go to the next one on the list, who is Beth. Beth, you're unmuted.
Hello, Beth.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great tonight, Beth. How are you doing?
Good, thank you.
Beth, what's your sun sign?
Libra.
Oh, another Libra. You Libras are really calling in tonight. And also the Virgos who have a lot of Libra. And I know why. It's because there's going to be an eclipse on your sun next Sunday. And what state are you in?
I'm in New York.
What state was that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Oh, sorry, New York?
New York. Ah, my old place. I lived in New York for my first 38 years. Love it. And what is the thing you are most grateful for this evening?
My family.
That's wonderful. That is so wonderful. And what in particular about your family just warms your heart?
My children.
Ooh, do you have 3 already?
2.
Do you want 3?
No.
Be
I
careful.
think I understand where you're getting the 3, though.
Okay. Good. If you want 3, good, because I see 3. I even see a possibility of 4. And so wherever that third one's coming from, there might be an extra one that's joining that third one. Okay. And what's your question this evening?
Well, I used to work for like a major cable company, which you probably heard of.
Mm-hmm.
I left about 10 years ago, and since that time, just financially, things haven't really been well.
Yeah.
I stay home with my son. I still work, but so my question is more like financial. I'm thinking like I want to go back into the corporate world, but I really like what I'm doing, but just our finances are a little difficult.
Yeah.
I have a
Well,
daughter that's going into college, and
is there a way
it's
that you
hard.
can get back into the corporate world and still doing what you like? Because my guides are saying you can merge both things. Maybe you just need to look at it from a new perspective.
I can, and I stay home for my son now, because
Hmm.
he's only 9, and I don't really have anyone to, it's more of a family choice.
Right. Well, and there are
Um,
many, many jobs that you can do from home. Now that we are in the virtual world like this, okay, there are many
well,
jobs
that's what I
that you
do.
can do from home. Hmm.
I do work from home.
So
But,
why? So
just,
again, I've got to tell you, what my guides are saying is, the answer is right there in front of you. You need to merge both things. Need to merge the corporate world work with the staying at home work, which means that you may very well need to take a job where you're at times, going into the office so that there is a physical part of it, and the other time you're working from home. Okay, and they're saying that this is something which might require a little extra. They're using the word training, but they're not showing you back in school like getting a college degree. They're showing additional training required to be able to enter into that position, which would have you being able to do both and merge both. And they show a lot of travel around you too in the future. And that may very well come after your son is a little older and no longer needs that stay-at-home mom, i.e., the answer is
okay.
right under your nose. You just have to, sometimes, and this is, again, I want to share this with everyone because this is the way decisions work and choices work. We have a way of having tunnel vision. All of us do this. We see where we want to go. We see what we want. We see our goal, and we automatically line up the way that we think getting to that goal should work. But the universe may see a different, shorter route to that goal. And if we don't broaden our perspective, if we don't kind of step back and allow the answers to fall into place, we don't see the other options that are available. See, my guide is saying that right under your nose, very close, perhaps connected to someone you know, there is a means of merging both of these worlds into what's going to bring you in more money, make you feel, and this is important too, more valuable in what you do, and still allow you to be there and available to your son when he needs you.
Okay.
Yeah. And how do you figure it out? Instead of trying to overthink it, you need to let it go. You need to take a breath. You need to step back. You need to look at the things you really want, which are to take care of your son as a stay-at-home mom, to be in the corporate world, to make more money, to have a good corporate future. Those are all the things you want. You put the thought out there, you take a step back, you let it go, and then you wait for all those things to come together, and pow, there it is. It's the stepping stone to the exact job that you need, but right now you can't see it because you've got the blinders on.
Okay.
Okay? And you're going to have to call me back in about 6 months because we're under the eclipse now. And that information that you just got is your guide's way of giving you directions on how to get where you want to go. So call me back in 6 months and let me know how it works out. Okay?
I understand what you're saying. It's like manifesting. I
Yes,
understand that. Thank you.
exactly. Thank you very
Thanks
much.
so much.
And I think I have time for just a few more people. So, Lisa, who's our next person?
All right, I'm going to go to Linda. Linda, you are unmuted.
Linda, hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Linda, what's
Hi.
your sun sign?
I'm a Gemini.
Oh,
And,
like me.
Oh, excellent.
Uh-huh. And according to our horary chart this evening, your sun sign falls into the 8th house. So you've got, like our last caller, some money matters on your mind. And you've also got some relationship issues going on too.
Yeah,
Yes.
I do.
So, and what is it you're most grateful for?
I'm grateful for my partner, Steve, and my children, my grandchildren. I'm also grateful for a nature park that I get to go to every day on my lunch break from work, because I think there's a ley line there. There's a
Wow.
vortex of energy that runs through Indian Rocks Beach, Florida. So there's a lot of vibration in the earth there, and I get really energized when I go there. So I meditate every time I go to lunch there in the afternoon for 30 minutes.
Is there an Indian mound there?
There is, yes.
Okay. Because they're telling me that when you meditate, you should go as close to the Indian mound as you can. And they're saying that the Indians put that mound there because of the ley line, or they didn't use the term ley line. This is interesting. They call it an energy grid.
Yes.
Okay, but it
I
would have
feel
been
it.
yeah, it would have been a term, an Indian term for it. And I'm not hearing the word. It's an Indian word, and I hear it, but I can't pronounce it. But it
Sure.
means energy grid. That's what they. So that's very interesting. Very, very cool. Super.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very cool.
And when you're there, you can also connect with elemental spirits. Have you done that?
No, I don't know how to do that, but I'm open to it.
Yeah, I think that well, what'll happen is if you're just sitting there and you're very quiet within your own space and you relax and you kind of get out of yourself and you're just meditating but hearing all the sounds of everything that's going on around you, all of a sudden it's going to be like nature tunes up, and you're going to hear the insect life and the bird life much, much more clearly. And in there you'll catch whispers, or you'll see flashes of light, or hear little snatches of music, and that's the elementals in the forest that's around you. Not forest, it's not really intense trees, but it's like there's, I guess they've trimmed out a lot of the undergrowth. It's not the way it used to be, but they're still there.
It's a nature park on the intercoastal. It's surrounded, by water.
Okay.
On the side.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Then, well, I'm not seeing the trees I would expect, but I definitely am seeing that Indian mound. Okay. And the closer you
Yes.
get to the mound, the more intense that feeling of connection is going to be. That's cool.
It's very cool.
So thank you for sharing that. And I think all of us wish that we could have something like that close to ourselves that we could connect with so very, very well. And maybe we'll have another chance at a future one of these psychic hours to let people say how they make their connections. Where do they go to be able to connect more strongly with the earth and the places around them that are important. Meanwhile, what is your question for this evening?
Well, I had two questions. One of them has to do with, I've always been drawn to anything that has to do with DNA,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's soundscapes or activations, and I'm not really sure why, but I have a feeling that I'm supposed to be doing something with that. But I obviously have a full-time job, and I'm not going to. I don't feel like I have enough time to go into anything too deeply with that until I retire in the next 5 years. So, but I am drawn to
other than perhaps doing it on your own. You see, there are many things that you can be listening to either while you're working or while you're sleeping at night that will work on your DNA and will expand your consciousness. Are you aware of that?
Yes, actually, I do that. I have I do go on to YouTube and I listen to you a lot on YouTube, and
Thank you.
I also, if I can't sleep, I'll listen to some DNA activation soundscapes to help me sleep or help me to fall asleep.
Excellent.
So I have done that quite a bit. So,
yeah, because there's so much material out there right now. I was just doing a quick look. I can't recall it. I'll have to email it to you later on. Drop me a note afterwards at my email address, and I'll get in touch with it, because there's one that I have downloaded onto my iPhone that I listen to religiously every night, and it's absolutely phenomenal for expanding your DNA. Okay,
excellent.
and I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are something like 124 additional strands of DNA beyond I think it's 48 that they know we have that can be activated.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of have a few interesting questions about that. There, down in Gulfport, Florida, there's there's a visionary couple that create soundscapes for DNA activation, and I've also been in touch with online some other people who do DNA activation. It's kind of a specialty, I guess. And also, my current partner, he has his spirit guides have told him that he is to do DNA apportation, which is completely changing people's DNA. So I've been in touch with and in contact with a lot of different avenues of raising vibration of DNA, or, you know, my partner, his guides have given him some tools to actually not activate the several DNA strands that you've talked, you know, the many that you've talked about, or that other people claim that there are, but actually to change people's DNA to the original DNA from the beginning of time. So it's a vast and interesting subject that, and
You've
I keep
also
coming
read
in.
you've also read The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, correct? If you haven't,
No.
I strongly recommend it. Bruce Lipton is a medical doctor, and it's exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about all through the book, not only is it possible, but he's done it through experiments with people about using your consciousness. This is kind of reverse engineering, using your intent, your mind power, your consciousness to alter and change your DNA.
Okay.
And he explains it scientifically. He explains his own involvement with it, and he also tells you how to do it.
Very good. Excellent. I
That's
will definitely.
Yep. It's
I will
The
definitely pick
Biology
that
of Belief by Bruce Lipton. Excellent,
Okay.
excellent book.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Now, did you have a question about that specifically? Like, is that what your life path is supposed to be about? Or because I definitely
that is.
feel that it is. And I want to ask, have you had a number of surgeries?
I had a knee surgery last year.
Okay. And in that knee surgery, did they do anything with stem cells? Or had you thought of going for stem cell replacement instead of knee surgery?
No, I wasn't aware that that was available.
Oh, interesting. Well, when it happens again with the other knee, or there is something called prolo, Prolo therapy, where they mix up your own stem cells and they inject it into the knee, and it rebuilds the knee without surgery. And it's very effective.
Wow.
It actually works. Okay.
Now, do they do that in Florida?
They do that in Florida. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can look up Prolo, Prolo therapy on the net, and you'd be able to find out wherever in your state, whoever's doing it. In Florida, I know there's someone doing it in Sarasota. I don't know about the area on the East Coast. Okay.
Well, actually, I'm only an hour from Sarasota.
Wow. Okay. Well, guess what? There's a fellow there who does it.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank
Yep.
you. I'm so grateful. I'm so
Yep.
grateful. Thank you.
And that may be
Yes.
why you called in, because that could be real important information.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And I've got time for one more quick one. Lisa, is there anybody in the chat room or anyone who's still got their hand raised?
We do have a few with the hand raised. Let's go to Cheryl. Cheryl, you are unmuted.
Hello, Cheryl. Can you hear me, Cheryl? Lisa, I think we're going to have to pick someone else up.
Okay. Cheryl has left the building.
Either that or she has her mic turned off. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go down to Melita. Melita, you are unmuted.
Hello, Melita. Are you my Melita? Melita's not here either. People are leaving. Oh, well. Try one more. We're overtime. That's probably why.
Let's go with Allison. You are unmuted.
Allison. Are you there? I wonder if when you set this up, if you had set a time limit to this. Well, who's got a question from the chat room? Let's go to the chat room.
Let's see if they're in the chat room. Okay, let me look down here. All right, I have a gal named Miriam. I hope she's still here in the chat room. That says, it keeps moving. It says, what is the one thing that I can do right now to remove the veils that keep me from connecting?
Ah.
And thank you so very much for doing this call.
Well, you are very, very welcome. I love doing this call, so I love being with you. And, you know, your issue is something which is not uncommon. You have someone probably from your childhood, but you have somebody in your life right now who's very reminiscent, or who is that person from your childhood who has set limits on your abilities. And it's almost as if you have to assert your independence. You have to grow up. You have to say, I am allowed to believe in myself and my own abilities that I know are God-given, that I have. I no longer have to push through the resistance that you have created in me through how you handled these things concerning me when I was a child. It's almost as if when you were a child, you'd run to your mother and you'd say, oh, mommy, mommy, I can see such, or I can feel such, or I had this information that came to me, and mommy said, oh, that's not real, and you can't do that. They only do that in the movies. And so what happened is you shut your abilities down because you did not have her approval to do what you wanted to do. So in order for you to open things back up again, guess what? You've got to push that person from your past and to someone very similar in your present. You've got to push them away and say, I no longer have to have your approval in order to live my life. I can just live my life and be happy. And in doing that, I can own all of me, all of those things that I am, because I'm not seeking your approval any longer. So the thing that you need to do isn't so much work so hard to connect. The connections are there. You've got to stop worrying about other people's approval, particularly that one person, in order to make that connection. Push that disapproval or that fear of not being accepted or of not being liked or of not measuring up or of it not being real because somebody else said it wasn't real. Push all that away, get in touch with you, and bam, the doors will just simply open. Okay? And don't feel bad about that, because you know there are so many, many of us who deal with that issue in our lives. Our world for many years was closed to psychic ability, and as a result, so many of us have blocks that have been placed in our minds, and we have to stop seeking outside approval in order to get past those blocks. So, folks, I hope I've touched enough different areas that everybody's gotten a little bit of something out of what we talked about this evening. I have enjoyed every minute of speaking with you. Again, thanks for staying with me this evening, and come back again next month. Our next Psychic Hour, folks, is going to be on May 25th. So please put that on your calendar tonight. Next month, we meet May 25th at 9 p.m. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here this evening. Good night. Until next time.